enter the mayhem.
Yes, we are entering the mayhem because, hi, hello, welcome to another episode of Here Comes a New Challenger, a fighting game podcast. As usual, I am your host, Garrett, and I am joined by Mr. Austin, who is now back.
That is me. I have returned from the grave.
And I'm also joined by Mr. Probius Troy Blazblue.
Howdy. Get wrecked. I have it.
I didn't even think about the howdy.
No, get fucked, idiot. Mr. I'm going to keep saying howdy since Troy isn't in this podcast episode, and then boom.
Came back and I just forgot about my whole rivalry.
You dropped it, man.
Get wrecked. This is what happens.
You ever drop a ball like 40 stories?
That's how it feels. That's what happened to me.
Yeah, man. You went to the biggest Empire State Building in the world and you dropped the ball.
Yeah, the biggest Empire State Building, the one that is in Chicago.
Yeah,
for some reason.
No, that's the one. You're talking about the one in Madrid.
Is there one in Madrid?
Yeah, man. Empire State Building 2.
Welcome to Empire State Building 2.
In Espanol.
I will not be able to do it in Espanol.
Anyway, today we're gonna talk about the series that I really think is neat, Blazblue. Specifically, we're talking about Central Fiction and Blazblue Cross Tag Battle. But before we do that, hey Austin, what did you do with your week?
I had a rather busy week, work-wise, but I played some Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. I think the character of the Wolf Ranger, whose name I can't remember. RJ. I wanted to say TJ, but I knew it wasn't TJ.
Yeah, it's
RJ is probably the most fun character DLC-wise to come out since Lord Zed for me personally. He's got some really good combos and is a lot of fun to play. And I've been playing him and trying to implement him and Lord Zed in the same team. I'm having a lot of fun with those characters. And
I
then
really
I played
like how he has the Sagat, like Muay Thai stance or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And then like he has the weird blade projectile thing.
He has really great looking normals that just are fun to land and are cool to watch happen. But he also has like that whole projectile like gameplay of like you have a move that puts out this blade thing that sits in front of you and you have follow-ups to that is really interesting to me, and you can do a lot with that, and I'm really like having a ton of fun playing that character and messing with that element of the character. He's cool. He's a lot of fun. I really like him, and he has the Sagat Tiger Genocide.
Yeah, super.
Yeah, which is great. And he's just fun.
He also has you can also like cross up super easily, right?
Yes, because he has one of his specials is the flip over move where he like jumps over you and you can hit buttons after to make him like cross up. Yeah, he's fun. He's just a lot of fun. He feels like good to play, if that makes sense. Like there's a lot of times in fighting games where like a character comes out that like you personally are like I feel good playing this character. Like you get them upon playing them and like you understand their combo structure and understand like what the game plan of that character is supposed to be, and like this character is that for me in this game. Like a lot of the other characters I've had struggle, like Power Rangers have had a lot of struggle like finding characters I enjoy playing, but that character like really fits me, and I'm having a lot of fun playing that character.
Nice. I wasn't super into him when I touched him, but he seemed alright. I just need to actually learn how combo work in that game.
Yeah, it's a lot of hard knockdown OTG setup, do your next combo, longer block strings. There's push block in the game or whatever, and just like the Power Rangers meta, from what I understand, is hit your opponent and kill them, and that's it. Like if you hit a person and your combo doesn't kill them, you failed to play the game.
It
properly.
really is just Marvel.
Oh yeah. Marvel on crack, which is crazy because Marvel is on crack. But yeah, I played that. I played some fighters. I've mainly been messing with Dragon Ball Fighters. Like, I've realized that I like almost every character in that game. I'd say almost every character because I hate playing Gotenks. But I enjoy a lot of those characters, and I've been going into the lab and like learning a lot of their combos and like trying to make more and more teams. I'm having a hard time giving up playing Android 16 because he's my favorite fighting. He's like one of my favorite fighting game characters of all time, and I'm just struggling coming to terms that he is not good in this game anymore, and having to build new teams and play teams without him.
Did he really get good at that hard?
Huh?
Did he really get gutted that hard?
I'm sorry, say that one more time?
Did he really get gutted that hard?
Yeah, well, so the problem with him is that everything that he was good at, other characters are just infinitely better at it with. He used to have like the armored H, like the armored shoulder tackle, but then like got rid of it, and now they've given all the armor to like Broly, like Z Broly, and like he just does everything better. His projectile's always been bad, but now that there's characters with really good like key blast moves that exist, he just has gotten worse. His strings are all bad, or like all of his like block pressure is just bad. His command grabs are not that fast now that you have characters with really fast command grabs. His combos aren't very damage dealing. And like he's not so much like bad as in like, oh yeah, he's missing things. It's just all the things that he can do, other characters can do way, way, way better. And he's just like fallen by the wayside and isn't like, there's not a lot of potential with him. And his assists are not that good. Like, Hell's Flash is pretty alright. But then like he has one assist where he does like a rocket punch. Like he jumps up and does 2 rocket punches. You can just, dragon dash through that. And it's like, oh, that assist is kind of useless. And it's not like Vegeta's where he throws like a bunch of them that you can like do really cool combos with it. It's just like 1, 2, and it's like, yeah, you can't do too much with that. He's not bad. He's just underperforming, and am slowly giving him up.
It really do be like getting rid of characters like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Bro, just play my team. The old Gogeta, Dolgohan, and Kid Buu.
That sounds like awful times. That doesn't sound fun at all.
It's pretty fun for me.
I've hated Kid Buu the moment the game like was in beta. Like I hated playing it.
As soon as I saw him announce, I was like, oh, I'm playing this motherfucker. He just has that I'm gonna kick your ass vibe the whole time.
Oh yeah. And the Boo Ball or like the Boo Dash Ball thing is just like always good and never a bad move to throw out and just good. Hate it. Besides those games, I've been playing Warzone because Warzone is crack. I've been playing a lot of Civilization 6. It's a fun game that I like playing by myself. That I enjoy like sitting back and kind of like playing by myself. But also, excuse me, I had some friends who were like, "Hey, we're gonna play this game," and I was like, "I'll play a game with you guys," and it's a lot of fun to like sit back and hang out and play that game with friends. It's fun. It's a good game. Recommend, especially with all the DLC. I feel like every Civilization game is bad on release, but then once a DLC patch or 2 come out, it's like, oh yeah, these games are good.
I've realized I get way too competitive about Civ 6 to play with friends.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, I want to commit war crimes. I can't ally with any of y'all.
I want to commit war crimes, Proteus 2020.
I wish to commit war crimes. Stop stopping me from doing war crimes.
I wish
Come on.
You're trying to ally with me. We're not friends in this game.
I wish I could do the Super Beast thing and just naming the podcast titles really offensive. So I can name it I Want to Commit War Crimes, but I don't think it's going to be published if that happens.
You could pass.
Maybe.
It's not that bad.
I mean, if Welcome to Patchwitz passed.
Yeah.
And Turbo Wheelchair Full-Throated Hard R Requiem or whatever. Whatever that episode was called.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Then yeah, I guess.
Well, I don't know. I enjoy Civ 6. I was having a lot of fun playing that. I haven't played anything else besides those, so I'm done.
Oh yeah. Would you like to talk about what you've been doing, Mr. Probius?
Yeah, so I've been getting more back into fighting games. I've been playing a lot of BB Tag and Grand Blue mostly. I didn't realize Hyde has these like really sick combos that I only thought were kind of awkward because you have to do them from a 2C starter. But 2.0 made it where you can do it from a 5 AAA starter, which is usually really bad for him. But it still gives you like 5.5, which is really good for him. And then I have learned the Rekka loops. I can actually like confidently do them. So as soon as Freaks happens again, I'm ready.
I don't think it is.
It'll happen.
Didn't the whole like shop close down?
Yeah, but Golden Boy bought over their place, and they said they're gonna let them use it for tournaments and locals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think Joey's friends with the owner of Golden Boy or something like that.
Okay, that sounds about right.
So I'm ready. And I've just been working on my cosplay. I finished the mounting brackets, so hopefully this next week I can start with all the wiring and that stuff.
God, it's just like such a pain in the ass to cosplay.
Yeah, it's fun though.
Wait, what are you cosplaying again? Remind me.
I'm going as Hawks from My Hero Academia.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I'm trying to focus on doing the wings, even though I'm almost done with the jacket too. But yeah, the wings it's taking me so long just because I had to make a frame for them and then this wiring and getting all the parts for it to make them move. And I've just opted for going for a wireless remote that I just have to like flip the switch.
Nice. Yeah, like whenever I think, I mean, the only time I ever cosplayed was with Narukami, but I feel like if I did it again, I would literally just buy a pre-made. Because trying to make one just sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, I had luckily one of my friends was really nice and let me use one of their sewing machines just so I could like stitch everything together. Because for the jacket, I just had to stitch like a little fur trim on it to give it the little parka look. Looks pretty nice.
Hell yeah.
Like can't wear it though because it's summertime and I will die. But you know,
Texas heat will kill anybody in a jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really want to eventually get, I won't say into cosplay, but like get into like costume design and like making stuff like that.
Yeah, this has like been my first one, and I've had a lot of fun with it. So if this ends up like turning out how I like, then I'll probably give it another go. Already thinking about like, man, Hyde would be pretty fun. Just have fucking like belts across my wrist and everywhere.
Yeah.
Just become a Nomura character.
Yeah.
At one point, I made a joke to Garrett that if we went to Evo and he dressed up like fucking what's his name, Gordo for Evo, if he like cosplayed Gordo, I would have to cosplay as Enkidu.
Yeah.
And luckily, neither of us did that.
I mean, we couldn't.
I would have had to walk around shirtless at Evo with a robe shirt of some kind.
Motherfucker, I would have to too.
Yeah, I was like, basically both of y'all would have been.
Yeah, but you would have a
shirtless,
V-neck,
you dunce.
and I would have to just have no shirt on.
I would have a jacket on.
No,
An unbuttoned jacket.
I would have to have it down because I'm Enkidu. Enkidu.
No, I'm talking about me. Gordo has a jacket. I would die in the heat.
Yeah, but some buttons, so you're fine.
Yeah.
I guess so.
No, if Evo was happening, we were gonna have to do Narukami Yosuke.
Yeah.
And I could be Robert Garcia from King of Fighters.
Yeah, like from that one fighting game, King of Fighters All Star, starring Yosuke, Hanamura, Yu Narukami, John Cena, and Roberto.
D-Rock as the Rock Howard.
Dwayne the Rock Howard. Rock the Howard Johnson.
Dwayne the Rock Howard.
Yeah, Dwayne the Rock Howard. From the game King of Fighters All Star.
He exists.
Yeah, where he's like, yo, Jabrosi, I'm here No, Jabroni, that's what he calls Yori. Right. Is it John Cena or is it The Rock that calls Yori Jabroni?
Both are cursed.
It's one of the two. I know he calls him a jabroni. I just can't remember who it is.
John Cena, probably.
Probably
Like
John
John Cena like
Yeah.
adopts Kim Kwong, I think, or something. Where he's like, "Yo, I'm gonna teach you my moves" or something. It's a bizarre crossover. That's probably the most bizarre crossover now that I think about it, since we talked
No,
about
Yeah.
best
it's
characters
the best
earlier.
crossover to ever happen.
I mean, yeah, it's like the most unexpected thing. I think it was in a call when I first saw it. I'm like, what the fuck? Is this real? And my friends were like, what? I'm like, there's a King of Fighters and WWE crossover. And I looked it up. I'm like, this can't be real. This has to be fake. But it's very real.
The better part of it all is just the fact that you can pick John Cena and Kyo and the Undertaker, and that's your team. And you're like, oh,
Or you can add
finally a
like
video game.
or you can do like John Cena, Kyo, and then one of the characters from like Tekken or
Mhm.
Gintama.
Yes,
In case you just wanted to
it's
go like, you ever just wanted to, yo, Pete, my team, it's John Cena, Dwayne The Rock Howard, and fucking Heihachi.
good. It's good. King of Fighters All Stars is one of the best things to come out of the
Dude,
fighting game
if
culture.
if KOF 15, what if KOF 15 added the WWE characters back as like their
Dude.
as like a team WWE?
Oh, dude,
They could afford sprites again if they did that.
dude, Team World Wrestling Entertainment.
Yeah.
Like, give me The Rock, John Cena, and Undertaker on a team. I will play that team. Like, if Negan can be in Tekken 7, The Rock can be in KOF 15.
Dude, then you could, if they add in Rock, then you have double Rock on the team.
I can only hope.
You have Rock Howard and Dwayne The Rock Howard.
The biggest, thickest team.
Yeah. You have the edgelord twink femboy Chad guy, and then
And then
The
Rock Howard.
Yeah. Exactly. Have you been doing anything else, Mr. Troy?
Then just grinding the Avatar event for Smite. I really want that chorus again.
Is it like a drop?
Oh no, you just you keep leveling up the battle pass through like
Okay.
experience points, and then one of like the last rewards is the chorus skin.
Well, at least it's not a gacha, so it's fine.
Yeah. That's been about it.
Okay. I haven't been doing a lot the past week, I don't think. I'm trying to think about it. I didn't stream this week because I had to wake up at 5 a.m. today to go work from 7:15 to 12:45.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've
Sounds
been up,
not fun.
yeah, I've been up for, let me do the math again, 15 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I took like a 40-minute nap maybe, and that's about it. So that's great. I think that happened on Friday as well. So I think Friday I was up for like 21 hours because I went to bed around like 2.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great time.
Yeah, no, when I was with my friends playing FF14, I looked at the time like, oh hey, I've been up for like 21 hours.
Hey, man. You're doing the best you can.
It's rough. So I didn't stream this week. Next week though, I'm probably gonna stream Miek on Sunday because I have the day off. So suffering will
Finally.
continue. Wednesday I have off, so I might do a small baby stream for that one, and that'll just be a really chill one. I'm thinking maybe like Code Vein
Mm-hmm.
and just grind.
Okay.
Just have like a grind stream or something. Other than that, I also worked on my first Gundam model this week,
Okay.
which is pretty neat. They're not as
Which
hard as I thought they would be.
Gundam?
Wait, what?
Which Gundam?
0078.
Alright.
Yeah, that's like the starter kit or whatever.
Yeah.
And they give you all their weapons or whatever, and they also give you like a Gundam. They call it like the Gundam marker, and it's so you can make all the parts that you need to make black. That's literally it. And then you have to like, the only tools you need is technically nippers, which are like toenail clippers, or like fingernail clippers, but they're specifically for snapping off pieces on the boards that holds all the parts. And it's like surprisingly easy. So the hard part is that it comes with this big like in-depth guide, but it's all in Japanese.
Yeah.
So literally I could not read that one, and I'm like, how am I supposed to do this? And then there's a smaller one that's in black and white, and it's super simple. It's like it's just pictures where it says A9, B23, PCA or PC1, and then you go to your three or four boards and you look at it like, oh, this is the A board, and so it's all like numbered, so you can find A12 and you know what the A12 is, so you get your nippers, you clip it off, and then boom, and then you just connect them like they're Legos.
Okay.
They're just more complicated Legos.
Yeah.
But it was time consuming. I think it took me like overall over the past 2 days, it took me like, I want to say 2 hours, maybe 2 to 3. But it was like super relaxing the whole time. Like it literally didn't feel like I was wasting my time. I was like, okay, time to do this part next. It's weird. It went out of order. I had to do the body first, then the arms, then the head. It was just like, okay, that's not that bad. I didn't do the torso. It skips the torso and goes straight to the legs. Then you do the bottom part of the torso, then you do the top part of the torso, and then you put them together. And then you can make like the weapons after that. Like I made the shield and the gun. There is the beam saber, which I really wanted to do, but I don't have any pink paint to make it like pink. It's just pure white, so it'll just look really weird. So I'm like, whatever. So I just didn't do that one. So, but yeah, everything else though, it works. It's very simple, very easy. It's cheap too, relatively cheap. I think the starter set costed me like $17. I think most Gundam models go for that. Like most normal Gundam models go for like somewhere between 15 to 20. And the nippers costed like $6 or $8. It's like 25 altogether. I'm probably gonna buy another one the next time I have off and just start another one because that was pretty fun. Even though I barely watch Gundam.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun, and that was the bigger thing I did. And then I also started Danganronpa 2 this week, and I'm very torn on Danganronpa 2.
Okay. So I don't know much about the Danganronpa series.
Yeah.
I've only played the newest one, which I think is
V3,
4?
yeah, it's V3
or 3. Okay. And I mainly I didn't get to the first person getting killed, or like the first murder trial or whatever it's officially called. I know that there's Ultimate Bug Catcher, and I think his name is Kota or Kota. I don't think his name's either of those actually. I'm thinking about it, but he's a big, like, dumb guy, and he's my favorite character ever.
Oh yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I haven't played V3, but I have seen pictures of him because my friend was like, "Oh, he was talking about how like certain characters like represent him, his boyfriend, and one of it, and his roommate or whatever." He showed them off. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I can see their resemblances," but I haven't played 3 yet because I'm going through them in order. But I do know who you're talking about. I just don't know his name because he's like the big buff dude.
Yeah, he's giant, big, buff caveman who's like, I like collecting bugs, and I'm like, you're adorable. I want to hang out with you.
That's better than like almost all of the characters in 2. I'm very torn on 2. Wait, what?
I have yet to start 1.
You should. It's very good.
Yeah, I need to.
If you start 1, you can pick either dub or sub. Either one is good. If you play 2, I recommend sub because the dub in 2 is not as good.
Gotcha.
With 1, another thing is if you pick one of them, you're stuck to it basically. If you pick sub or dub, you can't just swap it whenever. You have to replay a chapter to switch the languages. It's super weird. I got a DM. Hold on.
I don't care for the gameplay of those games because they are not fun to play per se.
Yeah,
that's what I've heard, but yeah.
They're visual novels, yeah, and they're not super exciting in terms of gameplay. You're walking from point A to point B.
Yeah. I can see where the game gets fun. Like I said, I only got to the first murder trial and I stopped playing just because I didn't own the game. I was playing with a friend.
Yeah.
But I can see where the game can be fun. I just haven't gotten to, farther points like that.
Yeah. they're slow burns. They take a while to actually like start up. Just because like they're actually taking the time to like set up the, what's it called? The not gimmick, but like plot and everything like that, just so everything gets set up. It's not just like, oh look, here you go, start. It's a slow burn to the game. They're long too, because one is about 20 hours, which isn't too bad. Two, and they each go up by like 10 hours each time, I believe.
Okay.
So they're pretty long. The last one is especially long. Two, I'm very torn on. There's a lot of quality of life stuff that I like. So in the first one, you can only get skill points they use for the trials via doing character social links, basically. But in 2, you just get it by leveling up, which is just by walking around or finding hidden Monokumas or doing social link stuff. So that makes it a lot easier to do that. You get skills just by getting hope shards, which then you can spend on skills instead of getting skills via only social links like in 1. That's the stuff that I really like. Traveling's a little bit easier. Fast traveling's easier, I believe. It's trimmed down on that. But other than that, the game does not respect your time.
Yeah.
Like, the trials are in 2 parts now, instead of just one consecutive thing. So trials are longer, but it doesn't feel earned. I've played 2 trials so far, and typically with each trial, they go pretty fast, and just setting up the plot of, like, here's what we know, here's how this person died. We're trying to figure out why they died, or let's talk about the murder weapon so we can actually make sure it's that. It takes a lot longer to get to that point in Danganronpa 2. There's a lot of meandering at the beginning of each trial.
Okay.
That's not the only thing I don't like. I'm also very torn on the characters. Just design-wise alone, I don't like the 2 casts as much as ones. If you want to, Austin, look up Danganronpa 1 cast and Danganronpa 2 cast.
Okay.
And I don't know if you will agree with me, but I like the 1 cast more because it's more grounded. They look like actual people for the most part, and then 2 starts getting a little crazier of how they look and like a little more cartoony, and that's kind of the big issue with 2 is that 2 is very silly. 1 was silly too and had like sex jokes or like weird jokes every once in a while, but 2 is like all the time. Because there's one character and he's the ultimate cook in Danganronpa 2. His name is like Teru.
I'm the ultimate cook.
Yeah, he's the worst. Literally, the first time you talk to him, he's like, yeah, I'm really good at cooking. And then, like, literally 2 seconds later, he's like, yeah, but do you think that girl over there is a slut? What panties do you think what color panties do you think she wears? I think it's black. And that's all he does. After that point, all he does is make sex jokes. And it's really annoying. That character I hate. There's a character named... There's the ultimate team manager, I think is what his name is. And he's a super big, buff, cool-looking dude. But then you figure out that his only joke is that he likes taking a poop.
I like to poop.
And he just talks about it. Yeah, that's all he does. That's all he talks about. And it's the worst. The character, they're a lot worse. In Danganronpa 1, there's like 1 bad character, I would argue, and the other characters I just didn't care for. But in 2, there's maybe like 2 or 3 characters I really like, and the other characters I either don't care for because they're not interesting, they don't look interesting, or I just straight up hate them. But there is one great character. There's like a few great characters in 2, and one of them, his name is Gundam Tanaka, I believe is what his name is. He's the ultimate pet breeder.
Is his first name Gundam?
Yes, I believe.
Great.
Yeah, it's like Gundhaam, so it's like not spelt the same way.
Gundam.
Yeah.
I
And he's voiced in the Japanese dub. He's voiced by Ragnar the Blood Edge and Jonathan Joestar.
We're here for it.
And you notice it very early on. You're like, oh shit! I was like, oh shit, that's Ragnar.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really great. And he's this edgy-looking dude with like a scarf and everything. And his whole gimmick is that he talks about the 4 horsemen, or like his 4 gods or whatever. Like he talks about them as these horrible things, but they're literally 4 hamsters that he hides in his scarf. And he gives them like epic names like Silverhawk and Devil Beast.
Silverhawk.
But they're just hamsters. And that's the joke. is that he has hamsters and he thinks they're like epic evil incarnate because he talks about them like he does like superhero monologues every time he talks, and he also does that when he talks about his hamsters.
You know about Silverhawks, Garrett?
Wait, what?
You know about Silverhawks?
Yeah, that's like an old like 1970s show, right?
It's like an 80s show. Yeah.
Was that Hanna-Barbera?
I don't know if it's Hanna-Barbera, but
Okay.
it's a classic animated TV show that I didn't know existed until one of my roommates told me about it.
I think I've heard about it literally once.
It doesn't seem real. It seems like the most fake thing ever, but it looks cool as fuck.
That's all that matters. Yeah.
Partly machine, mostly human.
One more thing I'll say about 2 before we move on, and that's I really hate how 90s logic puzzly the trials are.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use an example from 1 and 2. In 1, the very first one, you're trying to figure out like all these things. Like there's a part where you're trying to figure out what these numbers mean because one of the characters that died, she wrote down numbers. This is from the first trial, so it's not really that big of a spoiler. That's like a few hours in. And then a character mentions, oh yeah, you just have to read them like in reverse because then they're actually letters. Or something like that. And it's like, oh, that's really neat. And 2, literally you're trying to figure out how this person in a video game got killed. It makes no sense. It's a very weird trial.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to figure that out, and it gives you these 5 truth bullets, which make no sense. They're all really weird ones, like trash can, swimsuit. It's like, all right, what you're supposed to do is that you're supposed to shoot whenever gravel shows up in somebody's whenever somebody talks and they mention gravel, you're supposed to shoot gravel with the swimsuit truth bullet. I did not know that, so I spent like a good 2 to 3 minutes fiddling around trying to figure out what I had to do and being like, this is so stupid. I look it up, figure out I have to do that. I'm so confused, but I do it anyway because I'm being forced to. So I'm like, whatever, I'll do it. And I click on it, and then they explain, oh, the murder weapon was a swimsuit filled with fish tank gravel.
Great.
How were you supposed to think about, oh yes, you can use this Japanese swimsuit and pull a bunch of gravel in it and tie it closed to use it as a weapon?
Mm-hmm.
Literally, who would think of that?
Hey man, it's just a cultural differentiation. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, get better at video games, Garrett.
I guess, like, it makes no sense and I hate it, and legitimately, like, made me mad. And the whole trial was terrible, too. Like, there's just a lot of, like, dumb stuff like that throughout the entire trial, and then there's also just mini games that are really dumb, but I'll complain about that another time.
Okay.
Either way, I'm very mixed on Danganronpa 2. There's a lot of stuff that I think is really neat, but there's also a lot of stuff where I'm like, this isn't great.
Mm-hmm.
I vastly prefer 1, but I'm also not super far in 2, so hopefully that'll change. But I have heard it gets worse, so I'm not holding out.
Great.
Yeah. Hold on. So I had to scroll up or something. Okay. So, now that I'm done complaining about DR2, we're going to talk about Blazblue, which I like.
But Garrett, what's a Blazblue?
Blazblue is it's like a book that goes in people's arms. Hironga has that in his arm, but so does Hazama. But Hazama didn't make the Blazblue. It was Terumi who made the Blazblue. But like
we're already off to the worst possible start of this podcast.
But like, non-jokingly though, if you're actually wondering, not you, but like the people listening are wondering, what's a Blazblue? It's a fighting game series made by Arc System Works back in 08, 09, I believe is when they first came out.
Team Blue.
By Team Blue, and specifically it was made as a sort of like new generation of fighting games that they were making because they didn't have the license to Guilty Gear at the time because Guilty Gear 2 happened. And I believe after Guilty Gear 2, Sega owned the license to Guilty Gear. So basically we just they said, oh fuck it, we don't have Guilty Gear, so let's just make a new fighting game.
Yeah, we'll make a new anime
We'll
hotness.
make a new anime fighting game, which might as well just be Guilty Gear 2, because there's not Guilty Gear 2, but like Guilty Gear isn't like the series 2.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's because like a lot of characters that you look at, like, oh, that's a lot like that character. Ragna's a lot like Soul. You can argue Jin is kind of like Kai in terms of design, though not at all in terms of character, and a bunch of other stuff. There's also,
We all know that Bang Shishigami is just Slayer.
yeah, basically. Um, it was also done with sprites, which is unique at the time because there wasn't a whole lot of sprite fighting games. They started to become 3D, and they could have totally went for 3D because that was cheaper, like way cheaper. Because if you don't know, sprites are expensive as hell to make. Like I think it costed like Skullgirls upwards of 10 grand to make a character sprite in that game,
Mm-hmm.
if
Per
not more.
character?
Wait, what?
Per character?
Yeah, per character.
Oh,
It's like upwards. I mean, granted, that's also because that game is hand drawn, but still, like,
yeah.
even if you did like its own sprite work, like sprite work is expensive. So they could have just went for 3D model, like polygonal, early 360 ass models instead of going for like they did with Guilty Gear 2 instead of going for the HD sprites that they decided to go for in the first place, which is great because those look really pretty, even though they look dated now in cross tag. Yeah, and then it was mainly made by Toriichi Mori, who is a weirdo. Because I saw him at Evo and he wore a kimono, sunglasses, and Crocs.
Hey. A kimono is comfy. Crocs are a sin.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's just this weird thing of like, oh, he's wearing a kimono, that's neat. And you look down and you notice the Crocs.
Dude, everyone at my high school unironically wore Crocs, and I hated it. So
Why
I've
is
been
San Antonio
desensitized.
still real?
It's a weird place. I'm desensitized to Crocs now.
I don't know anyone who unironically wears Crocs.
Man, I was weirded out too at first. You get used to it.
I don't want to get used to it. I don't want to look at, like, I don't want to be like, oh yeah, this is the new normal. We just have to get used to everyone wearing Crocs. Like, no. Like, if the world ended or whatever, like if the pandemic got really bad and instead of like giving everyone this really terrible disease and made it forced people to wear Crocs, you bet your ass I'm turning into a hermit crab. Like, I'm not dealing with Crocs. Like, that's just how it works. Crocs are dumb and I hate them.
Looking at like 90% of the Blazblue class, yeah, you can tell he was a Croc wearing guy.
Yeah, no, yeah, they're
Designs.
the
You
designs
just
are,
look at Hibiki and go, Crocs.
yeah, they're very over designed, which I do like, but there are a lot of characters that are like, oh man, you have way too much going on.
Like, what is the most over-designed character, Garrett?
in Blazblue,
Yeah.
I'm pulling up TF right now, so I can go through this cast again.
yeah, I'm trying to figure out who is the most over. There are some characters I'm just like, that's too much.
Mew. It's more of like there's not enough, really.
Yeah, Moo is like prototype Ramlethal in terms of looks.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have any of the Ram stuff that makes her look neat. But yeah, Moo, I don't like Moo's design a whole lot. I'm talking about like a character that just look at and I'm like, that's too much going on. There's definitely some. I just can't remember anyone that just makes me go, I don't like this design. I guess Carl Clover.
I like Carl.
I'm not super
Carl
big on
Clover's
Carl's
not
design.
over-designed, per se.
Yeah, no, I like Carl.
I prefer Relius, but
I'm going through this.
that's just me.
I think I have to go with, like... I don't know. It's hard, because some characters are, like, really over-the-top anime,
Yeah.
and some characters are, like, really simple.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I don't know who I would, off the top of my head.
Just going. Oh, how have none of y'all said this? Makoto.
She's not
No.
overly designed. She's just like overly horny.
Yeah, that...
Okay. In that case, all Mew, new, and
I think those... Yeah, I think the new and the Mew...
line.
I think those are my choice of, like, overly designed, like... Too much goes on with those characters, and there's too much things happening that I'm like, I'm just not interested anymore.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. I don't mind those designs, but I get where you're coming from with those ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell a lot of the designs are like that, and also there's also a lot of overly horny designs, which I don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fine. I'm not gonna be like, yeah, my caters to like 80 fetishes,
Mm-hmm.
and that's insane.
Like you. I think she's the second character I really liked.
I don't mind her, honestly.
But also, I started with 9, so
Yeah, I mean that's fine. I like Big Tibby,
yeah,
Mom, GF, Wizard, Witch.
the giant witch head, dude. There's something about the giant witch head that
Yeah,
I
and
like.
like whenever
I
she I think it's whenever she wins, she has a outro where she's like twirling the hat.
Yeah.
Or that's just like her assist thing in BB Tag, something like that. Either way, she twirls the hat and it's neat.
You guys are sick.
And she steps on people when she wins.
Her super, she steps on someone.
Yeah.
You know who else steps on someone's when they win? Q.
Yeah, Q's pretty hot. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, there's a lot of like very, I guess, overt designs is what you would say. I think they're fine. I think people who get like really, really stuck up over those are silly.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, if people don't like them, they don't like them. But like, I think people are like, oh man, I wish I could play Blazblue, but I just drop it whenever I see horny. And it's like, all right, then just don't play those characters.
Yeah.
There's like what 35 characters in that roster,
Yeah, there's a lot.
and there's maybe like I would argue at max 10 characters that are horny.
I would say like if you don't like horny, just play
Azrael.
Hakumen
Yeah,
and
play Hakumen.
get over your horniness.
Play the Thought Slayer himself.
So no, I definitely think like I like all the Blazblue characters, most of them, but I can definitely see how like, oh, this character's pandering in this way, but it's just easier if you just enjoy the character and don't think about like, oh yeah, you can see where this might be pandering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at every character if you're looking at every character for a idea to be like, oh, this character's obviously just going to this type of person. It's like, just have fun.
Yeah.
A lot. I think BlazBlue has a really good like spread of characters.
Yeah, like the roster is very like it's decently sized. Of course, after having like 4 games, you're gonna have a lot, and ended with like 35 or 36 or something. It's in the 30s, I believe.
Yeah, it's really strong in the like a lot of these characters are like a wide majority of the characters are very interesting to either play as or to like visually different. Like you have like my character that I like to go to is like Hakumen and Azrael, which is like Hakumen is this big cyber samurai character, and he's super cool looking, and you're like, oh, Hakumen looks so freaking cool. And then like Azrael is just like a guy who punches stuff.
Yeah, he's angry. Like, he's the he's that meme that's like man too angry to die.
Yeah. And then you also have like the opposite spectrum, like Mai and Makoto. And what's the character? What's their name? They're the
Platinum Trinity.
What? Which one?
Platinum the Trinity.
No, not. Well, Platinum Trilogy fits here, but it's the cross-dressing character.
Oh, Mane.
Oh, yeah.
Mane. Yeah, we're like, that's not a character type that fits in, or not. That's not like a thing that a lot of fighting game characters have. And you're like, oh, Mane. That's an interesting like idea of a character, and if we're getting into gameplay, all the characters play completely different from each other, and like
in terms of like
great.
Yeah, that too. Like it's weird because I feel like ArcSys are some of the only company that really has like cross-dressing characters. Because you have Amani and Bridget, and I think those are some of the only ones.
Yeah, they are.
And you have you also have 2 opposite sides of the cross-dressing spectrum. Because you have like the femboy of Bridget, and then you just have like, and then you have the Twitter femboy with Amane.
Yeah. Who
says that they are, but they can't really pass for feminine. But you're like, you rock that kimono, but I'm not falling for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, every character is also completely different. It's not like it is a 4-button fighter where it's light, medium, heavy, obviously, but like each character has their different D. It could sound really bad out of context, but its drive, and every character's drive is super unique. It makes each character different. For example, you have Ragna, which his is the Soul Eater, I think is what its name is. And
Yeah.
whenever you hit anybody with any move that involves the drive attack, you steal your opponent's HP and get it back. So you have like a little bit of incentive to get in and start doing stuff. I think even on chip damage it does it.
Yeah. It's interesting how the drive and D affects every single character in that game.
Yeah, and each one's different too. It's not just like, oh, this button that always gives people attack buttons. No, sometimes it's just weird because Hakumen's is just a parry.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's
like,
all he gets. I think there is like some specials you can do with it. I think you get like the one where he charges you and throws you to the ground out of the drive. But in terms of the base drive, that's all you get. It's just that. Hazama's is mainly movement. It's movement and options to withstand. That's it.
It's interesting, like the idea that every character has there's a unique there's the button that is this is a unique move per character, and then like every character has that built into their gameplay. I think Jube's was a dash, like it was just the dash.
It's a dash attack. Like it still hurts enemies, but it's like a dash. Yeah, you can do it in the air or just standing, and whenever you hit them, it would ink them.
Yeah.
And then when they're inked, all of your supers will cross up and do extra damage, I believe.
Yeah.
Which is not a thing in BB Tag, I don't think. I think they got rid of the ink mechanic. But I don't know if they cross up in Tag or not, like automatically. I don't think they do.
Yeah. But still with that idea of like every character in Blazblue is unique, and it really Blazblue is a game that like if you hate the idea of playing a roster of characters that all feel the same, like Blazblue is the exact opposite. Like every character plays completely.
To me, it always felt like every character is playing a completely different game and trying to invalidate the other one.
That's
just how different it is. It's like, Guilty Gear, every character is really unique, but they're all playing Guilty Gear, kind of having like the same mechanics. No, every character is using their own like separate mechanics, and it's just weird.
Yeah.
But it's super anime.
Oh yeah, which like is a big inspiration for like I've wanted to make my own fighting game for a long time, and like Blazblue is probably the only fighting game that like I really get inspired by per se, and like how they do move sets, and like every character plays very uniquely to their own game.
There's also like what's it called? There's also indie games that take inspiration from Blazblue as well. That's their gameplay mechanics. Like Them's Fighting Herds is the most obvious example I can think of. Because you have light, medium, heavy magic.
Yeah.
And magic is completely different for every character.
Yeah.
And each character's magic meter is built differently. Like Arizona's is built around her doing command grabs. Velvet's gets more, it increases faster the further away you are from your opponent. What's it called? Oleander can read, and she gets EX moves off of that read, and gets like traps that you can set up. So like every character is completely unique in Herds because of, and I think they have like talked about Blazblue being one of their biggest inspirations behind that game specifically. It's really interesting too, because what's it called? What was I gonna say? Fuck. It's interesting too because like both Z Engine games are inspired by the other ArcSys games, because Herds is inspired by Blazblue, but Skullgirls has some Guilty Gear in it, specifically with Robo Fortune.
Yeah.
Which is really neat.
And it's very difficult to do that like in concept, and in like practice every single character has to feel like a different fighting game character. Because when you do that, you have to not have a so in like Dragon Ball Fighters, every character has the same kind of game plan, where you do buttons into 2H or some kind of launcher, and then Dragon Rush, and then buttons into a hard knockdown. That's like not exactly, but like it's like the general game plan that every character is meant to implement, and it leads to like that's where. That's pretty much all that we're like every base character fills that like role. But then you get into like Blazblue, where like not every character has a launcher that is just like there's not a universal launcher.
There's also not even a universal sweep.
Yeah.
I think some characters have, I want to say it's not universal, I want to say some characters have 2C as their sweep, and some have 3C.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it's either that or I'm thinking of Under Night. Either way, like, sweep is not I don't think sweep is universal in that game, so it's like, even the most basic stuff isn't universal.
Yeah. Which is crazy to think about. Like, when you're making a fighting game, you want like people to look at your whole roster and be like, I can kind of play this
Yeah.
team. But like BlazBlue's like, no, fuck that shit. Pick a character and learn that character and just that character.
Yeah.
It's like you're gonna spend months trying to understand and comprehend how to play a single character in that game, which is awesome. Which is like I personally enjoyed whenever I was picking up, like I was playing BlazBlue for the first time. It's like I enjoy that I am going through and learning a single character and only that character, and not learning like 4 characters. I'm like I spent a long time trying to learn Azrael, and I was like, oh, Azrael's a ton of fun, and like he doesn't play like anyone else. And then when I try to pick up Susano, it's like Susano's like, hey, all your special moves are behind this paywall that you have to play the game to understand. And my brain like had a moment of like, what? But then after playing the game for longer than a minute, I was like, okay, I get it. Like I get why. And I was understanding the character, and it's fun in BlazBlue to learn a character because you have to like basically learn a whole new fighting game.
It also feels that, and then the matchup, that's the other part of it. Every matchup, you're completely playing a different game. Like, and sometimes your character might just be invalidated by another character just because of their game plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely like 8 2s and 2-8 matchups in that game.
Yeah.
It's like it's still possible, but boy, you're going to be on that struggle bus.
Which isn't a bad thing. Having 8-2 matchups isn't so much a bad
thing. It just
thing.
encourages you to be like, hey, every character's super different, but like maybe 2 characters.
Yeah.
Just try to learn 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember whenever I would talk about BlazBlue and be like, man, I really love BlazBlue. One of my friends would always like complain about the roster. Because like Paul would always be like, oh, don't you know that this character just invalidates this character in terms of playstyle? Because if I play Bullet, we can just play this character. It's this character, but better. Which, like, not really, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, in the most basic way, sure, characters are just the other character, but better, but that can apply, I think, to literally any fighting game.
There's, like, similar archetypes, but every character is too unique to be, like, this character is just that character, but better. Like,
yeah.
You can't really say that for this game.
Yeah, it's very... Yeah. BlazBlue is probably one of the most unique fighting games out there in terms of that alone. I mean, I'm probably going to be saying that a lot for whenever we talk about anime fighters, because they're all super unique. Chances are I'm going to be mentioning that a lot whenever we do the French Bread episode, which is probably just going to be Melty Blood and Under Night, because I don't want to play a whole lot of Dengeki Bunko.
Yeah.
But
oh, come on, man. Dengeki Bunko, fighting climax, dude.
Yeah,
we got
the game with Kirito BlazBlue.
Kirito.
And it has Akira from Virtua Fighter.
Man, the only character I want to play in that game is literally Shizuo, and he's the worst character in that game. It's such a bummer because he's cool. But anyway, yeah. Characters are really unique in that game. Another thing that I want to talk about, I don't think I talked about it a whole lot from the last times we mentioned BlazBlue, and that's the so we talked about how the games are directed / conceptualized by Toru Ichimori, Mr. Weird Man, who is cool, but he's weird. He's very eccentric. But the music is done by Daisuke Ishiwatari, who was the creator and also did the music for Guilty Gear. Which is pretty sick, because the music in BlazBlue is pretty godlike.
Yeah.
Like, even music for, like, characters I don't care for a whole lot are really good. Like, the perfect example is News Theme, Awakening the Chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Because it starts with that chorus, and then it cuts to, like, techno, and you just hear, like, the snare going on in the background, and then it goes back to chorus stuff, and then before you know it, the guitar kicks in. It's really good, but then, like, characters that you like end up usually having really good themes.
Yeah.
For example, my main in both BlazBlue games is Hazama. because I love him. He is the pinnacle smug asshole. I don't think he's like the character that started the trend of me liking smug assholes. I don't want to say he is. I'm not too sure, but he might be. But I love how much of a smug asshole he is. All he wants to do is just hate you. He's great. But his theme fits that perfectly. It's called Gluttony Fang, and it's so good because the opening, it just starts immediately with Gluttony Fang 1 specifically. It's just bada bada blah, and there's like the piano in the background. Because that theme showcases, specifically, it showcases Hazama's duplicitous nature, because you hear the piano, and the piano parts are supposed to be showing like Hazama's very like conniving side, the oh, I am a pacifist, I don't like fighting. But then you have like all the other parts with the electric guitar going super hard and grungy, being like, this is who Hazama really is. He's an asshole. And that's really great. And every character has stuff like that with their themes, which just goes with their character.
Yeah.
And even if it doesn't go with their character, in terms of like thematically, it's still sick. Because one of my other favorite themes, it's from Central Fiction. It's probably Jaeger, which is
that's what I was gonna mention.
Yeah.
I'm literally like in the lab with Naoto right now, just so I can hear it.
Yeah, Jaeger is probably one of the best new themes in the
game.
Even though everyone says Must Die. I think Must Die is a fine song, but like Jaeger.
I don't know many Blazblue soundtrack songs by name. I do know that Jubei's.
Yeah, that one's really good. That's Stand Unrivaled. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's pretty great. And I enjoy Hakumen's.
Yeah, Hakumen's is really good. Fucking Susanoo, especially the lyrical version. The name is Hakumen, a soldier resurrected to a vile and distant world. I'm making that the outro this time. You can't stop me.
I mean, you have to.
Yeah. I do enjoy. So the thing that I really like about Blazblue music is the whole concept of themes that are, per character. Every character has a theme, but also like matchups having themes.
Yeah, that's relatively. I don't think there's a lot of that in other fighting games. I know that Guilty Gear started with that stuff as well, because of Noontide being Soul and Kai, but like I think Arx is probably, I don't know if they started it, but I feel like they're definitely one of the bigger proponents of the character themes. What I think is absolutely fantastic though of no, that's cooking. Okay. I was just checking who posted something in the chat in the Discord, but anyway, the thing with but the versus themes are all super great too. Like I don't think there's a lot of bad ones, if at all. I want to say my favorites of the versus themes are probably like Under Heaven Destruction, which is Ragnar versus Jin.
Yeah, it's great.
And then like Nightmare Fiction, which is Ragnar versus Hazama.
Yeah.
A lot of the Ragnar versus themes are all really great because Ragnar versus Hakumen is fantastic, black and white. It's great. It's really great.
Yes,
really
probably.
Great build up. Yeah, all the character versus themes are great. There's also a mirror match theme, which is so like it hits hard. Really, it hits hard and it hits fast like immediately. Like, have you listened to the mirror match theme?
I've definitely heard it before. I don't know much about it though. I couldn't tell you what it is off the top of my head. But I've definitely heard it before.
Yeah, the only thing that I really don't like about the later Blazblue games is that the character select themes suffer really hard. They're fine. Like, they're decent enough. But, like, the original Blazblue character select theme is godlike. It's literally amazing.
Okay.
I take your word for it, but CF being my first, I've never heard the originals.
You should, like, bring it up real quick.
Let's see.
Because it goes from... Because it's not... It's not, like, super, like, I guess, up, like, in a major key or whatever it's in CF. It's, like, it's harpsichord and organs and stuff.
Okay.
With, like, a lot more emphasis on the violins.
Mm-hmm.
And it just
Holy
sounds really,
crap.
really nice. And it's a bummer that they got rid of it and replaced it with a pretty good song, but not great.
Well, I am a whore for violins, so
Yeah.
I have to check this out.
We need more orchestral fighting game themed.
Yes. I really like that Granblue has some of that.
Yeah. Grumble has a lot of that, actually.
Hmm.
It has a lot of, like, symphonic and, like, electronic stuff.
That's Fairy's like whole theme, and it's done perfectly. But we're not talking about Granblue.
Not
Another
yet.
time.
No, we will never talk about Grand Blue.
It's like looking out now to Kurogane. I'm going to talk about this character for a little bit.
Yeah.
He is, in one word, a BAMF. Period. He is BAMF the character. Definitely the sickest motherfucker I've ever seen in a fighting game.
Yeah.
If I could play this character and sacrifice my hands to this game, I would play him. And like just hearing his theme, I'm gonna try him again actually.
Just do a
But
cyberpunk and just get your hands augmented.
oh my god, yes,
Turn your hands into like robot hands, so then you can't get carpal tunnel. So then you can just keep doing it.
yeah.
Become an android or whatever, a cyborg. I said android, but no, you're not. You're not an automata.
Uh-huh.
I will become an android just so I can play this character.
You basically need to be because like
It's so
the dash
hard.
cancel
Dude.
frames in Central Fiction specifically is like maybe 5 frames, if
No,
less.
even in BB tag, it's a 1 frame link.
And so you have to like constant. You have to be like mashing forward in order to do
So-
the dash cancel.
One of the tips that I've seen for doing the dash cancel is you do a 2-3-6-6, instead of doing 5B 2-3-6-6, and then do the dash, or no, 5B 6-6 and the 2-3-6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't click with me though. I have to do the dash cancel and just like hope I can like
Yeah.
get the special move
There's
in time.
one-
But it's
Yeah, there's one that everyone does, and I've seen in combos everyone does because it's a lot easier to get the not easier, but it's like a quicker way to get the EX moves out with the dash, and that's by doing 214A, his Phantom Pain.
yeah. But then Phantom Pain is pretty a little bit easier to get the dash cancel out, but it's getting the special move after like the links with it is the hard part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, Naoto is sick. I play him in tag because he's a lot easier in that game, but like in CF he hurts my soul. He's very hard to play.
Even in tag, like to do like all of his where all his pressure comes from to make his moves plus, you have to be able to do the enhanced version of it. And to do the enhanced version of it, you need to do the dash cancels. So even in tag, it's not like yes, BB tag is easier and you can do some combos with him, but like all his pressure is still doing those 1 frame links and it hurts.
Yeah.
He's so sick though.
I will say he is one of the cooler characters.
Yeah.
Like I didn't play him in Central Fiction or any of the Blazblue games because I was like, I don't care. I want to only play Asriel.
Yeah, but
That's
he's
fair.
really cool
That's
though.
valid.
But I will say upon playing him in BB Tag, and I was like, this is a new character. I'll play this. I'll see what this guy's got. And seeing what he does, I'm like, this character's fucking. I think I messaged Garrett. I was like, why the fuck did no one tell me this guy is so fucking cool?
Yeah.
And I was like, this guy's awesome. And like these dash cancel things are annoying, but like I will learn these to play this
Yeah.
character.
And if like no matter who you pick, like the English or Japanese in tag or just the Japanese dub in Central Fiction, you get a really good voice actor. I don't know who the Japanese voice actor is. I think he was in Brand New Animal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have my phone on me, so I can't check. I remember seeing him in something recently and being like, oh, that's sick. But
Yeah.
or you can, but his English dub, which is brand new in tag, is Billy Kamitz, who did he did Gallo in Promare,
Oh, that's right.
but he also did Josuke Higashita in Part 4.
Okay, yeah. Best JoJo.
So that's all I know he does, but those are the two ones that I know when I think of Naoto. I'm like, oh, it's him. It's these guys. Which
Yeah.
fits. Because both of them are dumb meatheads. And you have dumb meathead the character.
Yeah.
I do really like him, though. It's really interesting because him, Mai, and S are the most loosest of terms guest characters. And I'm saying
Sure.
loosest of terms because they this is their first BlazBlue official game, but they've been in the side games.
Okay.
So technically, if you want to be technical, they are quote unquote guest characters, but they're still BlazBlue characters. Because because I remember, because today actually, my friend Blackjack was like, "Wait a minute, there was S visual novels." I'm like, "Oh yeah, those are like where she came from. She was from visual novels called like X Blaze. That's where she originally showed up in, and then she showed up in Central Fiction like a year or two later."
Can I just say that I don't like S?
I like.
I don't know, dude.
Like I never liked S.
No.
Like gameplay wise, or visually, or anything. Like,
she is. I like the. This is off topic, real quick. The people that say S isn't a lolly because of Big Tibby, clowning. It's fine to accept that, you like a lolly, whatever. But
I just think she's like a short stack more so.
No, she lolly. Okay. She just lolly with Big Tibby.
Okay.
But yeah, no, she's just pretty vanilla to me. I never really got the appeal of her. I guess she's like a fun hybrid show for some people, I guess.
Yeah, she's a Shoto with extra steps, like personal.
Yeah. I like the Unga Bunga with Mai though.
Yeah, I don't think she's super fun to play, but I like her design. I just don't like playing her a whole lot, and I think she's fine. I do like her. I like her theme a lot though. Conciliation. It's like the only techno theme in BlazBlue.
I will give you that one, yeah.
I just don't care. Like I feel like I've watched mainly a lot of her at EVO or like in tournament, and I just hate her game plan, and I don't have fun watching her.
Yeah, it's boring.
And then upon playing BB Tag more, like I'm just like I don't care about this character at all.
Everyone in BB Tag is already the more boring version of themselves from their respective game, and it holds true for S.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She somehow became more boring to watch.
Yeah. And I don't care about this lolly whatever thing.
Yeah.
Like, she's just not interesting to me.
That's fair.
In any way, shape, or form. I've never looked at that character and been like, I want to learn what this character does. I just don't care.
That is understandable. Yeah, and so like she's from the visual novels. Mai is either from a light novel or a manga, where you learn about all of her backstory and all that stuff. And then Naoto Kurogane is also from a light novel or manga.
Yeah, that one's a light novel.
Yeah, he's from a light novel, which then from a light novel which takes place in an alternate history dimension thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's Ragna in that dimension.
No, I'm Ragna.
Yeah.
No, I'm Ragna.
Yeah, because he has the same stuff as Ragna and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But,
and they for some reason hate each other.
Yeah.
Or more Naoto hates Ragna and Ragna's just like, who are you? Yeah.
I don't care. Leave me alone. That's my favorite thing about Ragna and the BlazBlue series as a whole. I'm just going to talk about the series as a whole with Ragna real quick, because he is just does not care.
Mm-hmm.
He is the epitome of I don't give a shit. Leave me alone. And I love that. Like, yeah, sure, Soul did it first, but Ragna perfected it.
Yeah.
I think Ragna perfected the art of not giving a shit. Of leave me alone. I just want to relax. I don't want to care. Go away.
Mm-hmm. It's Ragna is a character I don't have much to say about, but it is he has a lot of really great dialogue, and when we talk about cross tag in a second, like Ragna,
he has probably some of the best intros in that game.
Yes. He has some great interactions.
And I will talk about, because I'm probably going to talk about the intros for a good solid few minutes, because I think those
are the best part of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Central Fiction is generally great. Its netcode is fine. It works.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they're working on, there's people from the community, they're planning on modding and rollback.
Mm-hmm.
So that could happen eventually.
Saying this game's netcode is fine is a bit.
I mean, it's okay. It's not amazing. It's like not the absolute worst, but it's still not great.
Yeah.
It's not Smash. It's not Smash Ultimate, but it's like a little bit above there. It's like
it's just
like a
dated
pond
too.
scum, while Smash Ultimate's like at the bottom of the lake.
Yeah, it's not that bad. It's just, it is a bit dated. And then it's delay based early Arxis, so yeah.
This game is constantly on sale for like $8. I bought like a bunch of people Blazblue when it was on sale. What did I buy it
I think
for?
I actually own this game on sale.
Yeah, because it was on sale for like
Or-
$8.
Yeah, I got it for like a few bucks really,
Yeah, so
a
it's
couple
really
years
cheap.
ago.
It's constantly cheap,
Yeah.
and then Jubei's on
I
sale for $2 as well. You can get it if you get it on PS4. It's gonna be like more like 12, but on PC it's almost always like $8 when it's on sale. It's on
Yeah.
sale like once every other month, basically. So if you ever wanted to get into the game, that's your best bet is to get it on PC for how cheap it is. And you get all the DLC except for Jubei, but you can get Jubei on sale as well for $2, so it's $10 for the whole thing. It's great.
Yeah.
I personally love the everything shit out of this game. It's probably one of my favorite fighting games next to Ultimax. There's great music, great characters. Each character is unique. We didn't talk a whole lot about it, but the overdrive mechanic is probably one of the most unique, like defensive, offensive mechanics in a game.
Yeah, it's really great. I
'Cause it's the
honestly
idea
really
of,
like it.
You have this one resource, and you can use it for an overdrive, which gives you buffs for like 2 to 8 seconds, depending on how much health you have left, or you can use it as a burst.
If you wanted to shill for your character to get someone to play it, how would you describe them?
How would I describe them?
You really just want to shill for your character.
Okay. That's hard. Because I'm trying to think of a way to perfectly like describe the two characters that I play the most in CF. Okay.
Austin's
like-
for you too, yeah.
The hard part about this is like Asriel and Hakumen uniquely call to me as a fighting game person of like big punch man and really cool concept. Because I don't play a lot of the other characters in CF. There's not a lot of characters that I actually want to play as.
Yeah.
But like, you ever want to play a character that looks like he drinks Big Red? Like, there you go. I guess is the only way I can explain Asriel to shill out, or like, you ever want to play a character that feels like that anime character that is stronger than everyone else by like a mile, but like you as the audience don't understand why they're strong yet, and then they do something, you're like, oh wow, that guy actually is the best character ever. Like that's Asriel.
For one of the, I have an idea for one of the characters, and the joke answer is if you ever wanted to stay cool during the summer and this 100-degree weather, play Jin.
Shut up.
Boom, because he's a nice character. But
The amount of nice jokes for Jin
what?
that the community has
Wait, what? Now?
speaks for itself. Just the amount of ice puns for Jin,
Yeah.
there constantly are.
Yeah, they're everywhere because of Ice
Yeah.
Climb and
You have to.
Nissan, yeah, because you get to drive a Nissan if you play Jin. It's great. I love him. I love Jin. If you ever wanted to, I guess if you ever just wanted to play the smuggest motherfuckers you can ever play in a fighting game, play Hazama and Jin.
Yeah.
And if you ever wanted to play a fighting game and thought, man, I sure wish I could play Spider-Man right now, play Hazama.
Yeah, he does feel like Spider-Man. Which is weird because Spider-Man has been in fighting games for a while now. Yeah, that's all I got on Central Fiction per se.
For my main 9, you like having big buttons? Check. Set play, we got him. Dumb damage off of any starter, basically. 9's your character. Also, the hot big tibby witch is always a plus.
Yeah.
Yes. Agreed.
She just has everything. She's definitely one of the best characters. Yeah. You do little quick maths. She has like a lot of elements based in her kicks. So if you do like water attack plus her fire attack, you get a little electric ball. Or water plus 2 fire attacks, you get this giant rock that's one of her best starters.
Yeah, that's like an instant overhead.
Yeah.
Rock of opening.
You want to pick a top tier? Pick 9. Case closed.
You
Yeah, so what
ever
CF
you ever want to
covered.
play a character that has
And then it's Narukami and Hyde.
yeah.
And then the cross-deck battle theme starts up, and it does what was it called? The collision is unavoidable.
Yeah.
The impact is devastating, or something like that.
Hmm. Can't escape from crossing
And then
fate.
it cuts into the other characters, showing them off, like, oh yeah, here's Ragnar from Blazblue, here's a Hyde from Undernight, here's Narukami from this, and showing all this other things, and then it comes in, it's like Blazblue cross tag battle, and it's like, okay, I'm for this. This is a crossover fighting of a fucking Persona characters. Yeah, sure, sign me up. And then at the end of it, you hear the just a minute,
Yeah.
and it's like Ruby, which I think I've talked about my opinion on Ruby. I think it's fine. I think it's. I mean, I think some of the seasons are fine, but overall, I think it's pretty bad. But at least the character designs are really good, and like you see that, and you're like, oh, it's the most out of nowhere fourth slot for a guest character selection. You're like, instead of it being like another Arxis property or an Arxis owned property, Arxis published property like Undernight is, it's just here's Ruby with like
Yeah.
sprites specifically made for this game. So like, and then later on you learn that Mori is just a big Blazblue mark, which is funny because Monty, the guy who created Ruby, was a big Blazblue mark.
I will say the Blazblue characters in CF or in not CF in Cross Tag are fun. And are interesting. Um, and it's amazing that those characters are like genuinely fun like characters in a fighting game. Not that I didn't expect them to be bad, but uh, I was just like it was an interesting thing to watch that trailer at Evo and be like, oh, we're getting like this weird cross tag game that's gonna have Under Night and Blazblue and Persona and fucking Ruby. Okay. And the Ruby characters are like, oh, these are actually fun characters. And like Ruby herself was a top tier character for a while.
Still is.
I think one Evo that year.
Yeah. Another thing that I love about that trailer is just the crowd reaction.
Yeah.
Because nobody was caring at first.
Mm-hmm.
Like, either nobody was caring or it was just super tense because nobody said anything when I was showing off Ragnar and Jen. People were like, yeah, woo, go Blazblue. And then, like, the second the clash happens, everyone, like, shuts up. And then they see, it takes them 2 seconds to realize who they are. Because then whenever you see Nero coming, do his little, like, head crook.
Yeah.
Right when he does that and Hyde does his little sword thing, everyone just starts going ape shit.
No, yeah.
Everyone just starts screaming.
As someone who was in that crowd, I remember going, oh, this is like Blazblue, and then happening going, wait, what the fuck? And like just losing my breath for a second of like, huh? And then it all made sense. I was like, oh, I get it. This is great. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting reveal trailer for sure.
No, that's still one of my favorite memories of just like seeing that online and just going up to look at the reveal trailer and always watching the reaction, just seeing people go apeshit over it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it always just makes me feel really giddy, being like, yeah, this is hype.
Personally, my favorite BlazBlue cross tag reveal trailer or any kind of reveal media is when we were at Evo Garrett, and the new DLC characters coming out and Blitz Tank came out, and we both looked at it and went, ah! Like fucking lost our mind. The Blitz Tank being in the game. God, Blitz Tank is in that game. Oh,
that's definitely like the most biggest ass pull I think you could have picked from Blitzkampf.
Yeah.
See, if you think they just pick one of the Nazis or one of the
no, that would have been cool. No, the tank.
No, not the tank. It's like, oh, are we gonna pick the old man who plays like Sam Show? No. Oh, are we picking the Guile-like character? No. Oh, we're picking the grappler, the military grappler girl. Okay, I can see that.
No, we're picking the tank.
We're going for the tank. And it's not just the tank. They remade that sprite to look like an Undernight character.
Uh-huh.
So it can fit the Akatsuki sprite in Undernight. And like, excuse me.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about what this game is.
Yeah, it's a 2v2 fighter, much like Marvel 1 and Marvel Infinite. But it's a simplified fighting game, quote unquote, because it's technically you have two main attack buttons. You have an overhead button. You then have assist button and a swap button. It's a 5-button fighter technically, though you can also call it a 2-button if you want to be like pedantic. So this game doesn't do the thing of light, medium, heavy. It's very much, it's ABC, but A and B are both auto combos. But it's the type of auto combos that I like. It's the type of auto combos that Battle for the Grid uses. Where it's, here's auto combos, but they're not like, it's not like something you can just do. It's all baked in, so you have to like actually use these and learn how to use them and how they connect to each other. Because like in fighters, you just do, if you do your light auto combo, guess what? You just did light, medium, heavy. Just with one button instead of two. And you might get like an extra animation to give it some pizzazz. And maybe like a little bit more damage or whatever, but it's still light, medium, heavy.
Yeah.
But with BB tag, if you do A or whatever, that's completely different than if you do BB. And you can't do like ABC and get the same thing out of it. You're not going to. It's not going to connect.
Yeah. Which I like. I like in concept.
Yeah, I think it works because I remember when I heard, oh, this game's going to have auto combos, I was immediately turned off. Because I'm one of those people who thinks, oh, auto combo, that bad, that ruined game or whatever. But in tag, it's fine because they've made it work within the game itself.
And a lot of combos are based on like doing 1 or 2 reps of auto combo into a special or like And the main character that I think about in this game is Heart, from or not Heart. What's her name? Well, no, is it Heart?
From Arcana Heart, yeah.
Arcana Heart,
I
yeah.
know. Yeah.
Um,
Voiced
a
by
lot of her
2B.
combos. Wait, I'm sorry, what?
As it voiced by 2B from Nier
Mm-hmm.
Automata.
A lot of her combos are based on like light, or like light, medium, or like you have to get certain things out of your auto combos to extend your combos and such.
Yeah.
And they're really fun to do. And she is a fun character to play as. Which is my favorite factor of this game, is that like a lot of characters are just fun to play as in this game because they're simple. Like Hakumen is way more fun to play as in this game than he is in any of the Blazblue games, because he's just simple and easy for me as a dumb caveman. I enjoy playing Hakumen in this game much more than I would enjoy playing him in any Blazblue game.
I think another thing I do really like about another character, like there are characters like that in Tag who are just more fun in Tag than in their actual game, because they're simpler or they're just not dumb to play, I guess, not as complicated. And
Yeah.
even though not being more complicated, he's roughly the same, I would argue. But Ragna is so much more fun to play in Tag than he is in CS.
Yes.
Like Ragna is insanely
sick.
fun to play in Tag.
For me, so I played BB Tag before I played Uni. And Yuzu was one of the first characters I fell in love with. She's so much easier that can't even describe how much easier she is in BB Tag than Uni. And she's still so much fun. It's just like, here's this really sick character, but I could never play her in Uni.
Yeah.
But I can actually like do stuff with her in Tag.
Yeah, same thing with Kurogane as well in this game.
Yeah.
I can kind of do stuff with him. Granted, I can't do any of the stuff that actually does big damage, but I can do some simple combos and stuff.
Yeah, I really like BB Tag for that. It's just like, I'm too potato to actually play the character from their respective game.
Oh yeah. Like a lot of characters in this game are way more like Susanoo is a ton of fun to play in BB Tag. And then when you play them in Central Fiction, you're like, I have to put in brain power to play this character? What? No. Or like there's not a lot of characters that I play. Oh, Jubei is a bit easier in this game than in like Central Fiction.
Yeah.
Or like
I think conceptually he is, yeah. I still find for some reason I guess it's like how Troy views Kurogane in Tag. Like with Jubei, I think he's legitimately still like complicated to play in Tag for some reason.
He's just very unique.
Yeah. He's like the most unique character in the game, and it's so weird. Like, I don't think I could ever get used to him. I remember messing around with him once because my friend's like, oh, I really want to play Jubei. I'm like, I'm going to see if I learn stuff to help you. But I'm like, I can't do this. He is very hard to play in Tag, but he's conceptually easier, though, than in Central Fiction. Because in Central Fiction, there's so much more to him that's like, wait, why?
Yeah. It's interesting to see how they decide to change characters between games. I really do enjoy BB Tag for simplifying certain character gameplay styles to make it more like, what's the word, like new person friendly to play certain characters. And I do enjoy how some characters are altered to be like playable in this game. I enjoy how Azrael plays in this game a bit more than I do in Central Fiction, but I do enjoy Azrael in Central Fiction because I know the struggle of learning an Azrael combo in Central Fiction, and now that it's like easier, it's like, okay, I kind of get this a bit more. Or like again, not Susanoo, what's his name, Hakumen. Like Hakumen, you have to have like, you have to be thinking while playing the character, but in this game, you have meter. Just spend your meter because
cash it all out.
Yeah, you know, all of his moves you have to cancel and spend a bar meter to do. And it's like, okay, I get it.
Just do it.
Yeah, this game is a good kind of dumbing down heavy mechanics from other fighting games to make a more general, universal fighting game.
Yeah, it's weird because the game does get, of course, like any fighting game, it gets really nasty and really dumb in high level play. But like, I think it is one of the easier games to pick up and play.
Oh yeah.
That if you're like, oh man, what game should I play? Then yeah, if you have friends who have cross tag, or if cross tag's really cheap, just buy a few copies of cross tag.
I said this last week about Soul Cal being my first game. That I really got into fighting games, but BB Tag was, I guess, my first anime game really getting into anime fighters. And yeah, it was kind of thing where all my friends kind of had it, and it was just really easy to jump into. And I still play it now. It's probably still one of those my most played fighting game.
Yeah, it's very fun. There's a lot of stuff that I really like too. Is one thing that I really like that I want to mention is that it's not just they dumb it down. They also maintain each character's thing.
Yeah.
Even in franchises, because like example, Ragnar still has his health steal.
Yeah.
Another thing that I love is that all the uni characters, they all have reverse beat.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do B auto combo and go into A auto combo.
Which is great.
And then all of the Persona characters all have their personas, but you can still break them. They don't have the break mechanic per se, like they don't have the cards anymore, but when you break them, they take chip damage.
Yes.
They lose. They still get punished. So they can't use their persona anymore, but they lose 5% of their health. That turns to the red health.
Mm-hmm.
And 5% is still pretty big, so it's still a risk.
Uh-huh. A lot of this game is very like they dumb down things, but they keep every like branch of the crossover element. Like also, like you said, all the Persona characters have a Persona-esque element to them. All the Under Night characters have an Under Night element to them. It's good and it's interesting to have those things that don't go too deep, but like are deep enough to be like, okay, they make them different from like a Blazblue character or from a Ruby character. But we have to talk about the most important mechanic in the game, which is playing as Yang. So when you go below, I think it's 20% health, and the
Whenever
music,
you get the red health, basically.
yeah, when you get into red health, and whatever song you picked at the beginning of the round doesn't matter anymore because we're gonna listen to I Burn.
And since the match is almost over, you're just gonna hear the opening sting of it. That's it.
And it is personally one of my favorite things because at any tournament or any event, someone will probably be playing Yang because Yang is a strong character. At some point, she's gonna get hit to a point, and then everything's gonna stop, and the crowd will go, "I burn," and then it goes on to whatever the song sounds like. I'm gonna be honest, I don't
The
know
only way
sounds.
to truly beat Yang is to kill her before you hear "I burn." Mm-hmm. If you didn't do it, doesn't matter if you kill her afterwards. You lost.
I called it whenever I was in university. I called it psychological warfare, basically, because it doesn't matter which song you want to listen to. You're listening to Yang's theme now.
Yeah. Some of the best moments at Evo are sitting at Evo during BB Tag Top 8 and just casually sitting there like watching the match, and then someone's playing Yang, and then all of a sudden everyone goes, "I burn," and then we move on. Watch the rest of the match. I think me and Garrett were watching I don't know if it was like a winners finals or a grand finals where someone was playing Yang, and at first we were getting hyped like, "Oh, I burn," and then near the end we were like, "I burn."
Yeah.
Bored over hearing "I burn" all the time.
I hate it.
But
that's why I hate Yang in that game. Like, it's not even anything else about her. Like yeah, sure, she's kind of annoying, but I hate her theme so much, and it's a bummer too because like whenever I still listen to the Ruby music every once in a while, and I used to listen to that song a lot because I'm like, oh, I really like the rap break in it. It's really neat, even though it's very corny. But dude, I can't even bring myself to listen to it casually anymore. Like I hate it that much.
I have to rap in it either.
Like, I just can't. Like, I still listen to Red Like Roses Part 2. I still listen to This Will Be the Day. There's still some other songs that I listen to. I still listen to Caffeine. That song is on my main menu now for BB Tag, and I still listen to the shit out of Caffeine. But, like, I don't touch it anymore. It's I never play 'cause the song's annoying. And I hate it so much. Yeah, I hate that gimmick. It's really dumb. I think it's neat, but like it would have been cool if they kept the semblance mechanic but just not have the song. Like, I don't need it. Please, Arxis. Should just had it as a character theme that you can pick, like in literally any of the other stuff.
I'm a huge fan of character themes or like character music that plays at
Yeah.
moments, like in the Marvel versus Capcom
Yeah, character
franchise.
themes. Yeah, whenever somebody dies, the character theme comes in. That's really neat.
Yeah,
Or
that's
like
awesome.
again in Marvel 3, whenever you get an objection with Phoenix Wright, the theme turns into turnabout mode or whatever. The
Yeah,
cornered.
but when I Burn comes on, just because you hit a character enough times, it just comes like, I'm annoyed, or like I'm like I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I Burn.
It's hype in an Evo setting when we're making fun of it, but it's not hype when you're like just watching it and being like, oh.
Oh shit! Here we go again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it.
But to repose and to switch this, I think BB Tag is a good game.
Yeah,
like
I was mixed on it for a super long time, but I now think that it's pretty good. I think it's in a good place now.
Yes.
Like 2.0 changed the game.
Yeah, it changed the game and made me like it. So that should be enough to make a hardcore Blaze boomer like me saying, yeah, this game's good, to actually like praise it as something positive.
Mm-hmm. I enjoy the character variety. I enjoy the gameplay. I enjoy the cross tag combos, or like the how you do those. I really like this game. I enjoy watching it, and I enjoy being a part of the game, or like playing the game per se.
Yeah, another thing I really like about the gameplay is how they do assists, because in this game it's like, so in every, like in Marvel, you pick a character, then you pick one of 3 assists. And Blazblue, they're like, no, here's all 3 assists. You get to use them whenever.
Yeah.
You're gonna need an anti-air assist. You can just do anti-air assist now. You want a assist that locks down. Boom, you have a lockdown assist. The option is always there for you.
Yeah. I also like, because you as a player are making more decisions per like round. I will say I have messed up combos because of that, because I'm like, I need to do this assist. Oh, I fucked up and did the wrong assist. Well, I'm fucked. But I like having that option to the player of like, whatever input you do for the assist button is what you will get out of it.
Yeah, that's very neat. Another thing that I love in this game is the interactions.
Oh yeah,
I think that's like the biggest highlight for me, is because like that's something that Dragon Ball didn't really do. Interactions don't really exist in that game. There's like a few.
There are a couple good ones. Yeah. There's some really good ones.
Or like there's or there'll be like interactions at the end of the match. That's basically it. There's not a lot.
Dramatic finish.
Yeah, there's not a lot, which is a big bummer. What I do really like though is how specifically BB Tag does it, because a lot of characters have them. They're not just like, here's 2 characters, boom, there you go. No, each, like Ragna has like 20, and they're almost all of them are really great because they're really strong. Because you have Ragna and Jin, which is just, hey brother, let's kill each other, and Ragna's like, quit lying, you punk. I'll deal with you later. Just like, all right. This is the 5 out of 10, the classic, and then you get to like Ruby Ragna, which I love. Because it's Ragna just not caring about Ruby. Ruby being like, oh man, you have a really cool sword, and him just like pushing her away, being like, just do it later, leave me alone, and then telling her to shut up at the end of it. It's great. I love that. Or like my favorite Ragna intro is probably Ragna Naoto.
Which Naoto? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're going down, you son of a bitch. Yeah, keep barking, see what happens. Or whatever, it's great.
It's good. So there's definitely a fine line between like cinematic introductions and like simple ones. like or like I would say okay, let me revoke my statement. There's definitely a scale of introductions that are too much and that are perfect.
Yeah.
Like Third Strike has like if you pick Ryu and Ken to fight each other, do like a simple fist bump and that's it. And it's like, wow, that's amazing. That's what I want. Um and BlazBlue cross tag battle has some really great like if you pick two characters on the same team, they have like a half a second to like a few second introduction. You're like, oh, this is great. I enjoy this. Like it has a good amount of like time dedicated to like, hey, these characters have enough time to like say their quip to each other or like do their unique thing, but doesn't sit too long to be like, oh, this is kind of annoying that like we're doing a whole thing.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Fighters can, as awesome as that game is, like, look, if I'm playing Teen Gohan and my opponent's playing Cell, I don't need to watch that introduction every single time. It's cool every now and again, but like when it happens every round because me and my friend are playing each other and he happens to play Cell Point and I happen to play Teen Gohan Point and we have to watch this stupid cinematic every single time, like it's kind of annoying. But like in BB Tag, it's like immediate and rather quick, but like you get why that interaction is cool and it's like, oh, this is great and I love that.
I think my absolute favorite intro in the game though is my team, which is Team Smooth Criminal, which I have helped, which me and my friend Josh I think helped coin, which I love that name. That's the only name that he's made that I legitimately love.
You don't like Mutsit?
No, I hate Mutsit. I hate it so much. If you're listening to this, Josh, I'm sorry. Mutsit, just no go, no bueno. But Smooth Criminal is Team Adachi and Hazama. And they probably have my favorite intro, if ever. Have you ever seen that intro, Austin?
I don't think I've seen it before, but I can't remember it.
You should look it up while we're talking about it.
I'm looking up my teams because it's real good as well.
Yeah, mine's because it's just them being smug assholes together, and I love it. It's the intro is super fast. It's just Hazama being like, "Let's raise a little hell, shall we?" And then Nadachi's like, "You don't have to tell me twice." No, not that. He's like, "That's practically my job at this point." He's like, take off his jacket and he's like, "Oh, that's so sick." And then at the end of it, they're like, "Yeah, working as a public official sure is tiring." And Adachi's like, "Yeah, you should be able to carve out some time for yourself." It's just like, all right. It's great. I love them. In general, that one is just hype. It's not really funny, but it's hype. And Hazama just has a lot of other like ones that are pretty funny. His Yosuke one is also pretty fantastic.
Yeah. He's like, hey, you're gonna help me out too, right?
Yeah. I love him. I love Hazama so much. Adachi has one similar, but with him is with Hyde. He's trying to trick Hyde into doing everything, which is really great. Do you have a favorite intro, Austin?
I don't know if I have one off the top of my head. The problem is like I haven't played this game in a while. I can't think of my favorite intro. And I never played teams that had fun intros. Like my teams were like Hakumen Aegis or Hakumen Azrael or Azrael and Chie. Azrael and Chie had like an intro, I think.
Yeah, it's about Azrael wanting Big Red and Chie being like, yeah, Big Red.
Mm-hmm. And then my other team was Susanoo, Hakumen, or Susanoo.
That team sounds sick.
Huh?
That team sounds sick.
No, they have
It's
like
fun.
Hakumen and Susanoo have probably one of the sickest intros too.
Yeah, it's the 20-second one.
Yeah, it's one of the longest ones, but it's so worth it because it's just them. It's Hakumen doing "I am the White Void," and then Susanoo doing his own version, his own like distorted version, and them adding like "Your end has come" or whatever. It's like it's so great.
And the screen just starts shaking at the end. It's
that's probably my favorite one. And my other team was Susanoo and Blitz Tank, and there's no interaction there.
And Blitz Tank didn't have any intros.
The problem with my favorite character, or one of my favorite characters being Blitz Tank, is that Blitz Tank has nothing to say to anybody because he's a tank. Like, okay, let's get this out of the way. Blitz Tank is one of my favorite fighting game characters. He's not like in the top 5. He might not even be in the top 10. He might be number 11. But like Blitztank is awesome to have on your team. It is a ton of fun. Like a goofy as fuck giant tank character. And I enjoy having Blitztank on my team and doing stuff with Blitztank because he's fun. But like he doesn't have any intro with anybody because he's a tank. What's he gonna say? Oh, I'm a tank. Like it's whatever.
I think Adachi has some of my favorite ones with Narukami.
Oh yeah, that was really great. Like Adachi-san, I still believe in our friendship.
Oh, could I say the next part?
Yeah.
Then you're even dumber than I thought.
Yeah.
The one with Hyde too. He's like,
hey, go get him, you
rabble-rouser. A real rabble-rouser. I am. Hey, you're fighting too, you know. So good.
Speaking of, I love Adachi's lines in this game.
Yeah.
The best
Adachi
super
is a great character
ever
in this game.
Is his version of Cross Slash. Because you have Narukami being like, finish them off. It's like, well, that's so, that like sends shivers. That's great. But then you have Adachi being like, you think you're so damn cool, but it's all bullshit.
Definitely favorite one.
It's great. That's like my favorite one, like bar none.
There are a few fighting games, Garrett, that have really made two characters that really fit you, like that are characters that you want, like that work together now.
Yeah, they're like, friends now.
Adachi and I'm blanking on his name. Yeah. Hazama, like being on the same team, like a game that lets you play as those two characters at the same time. It's like, yeah, this is like prime Garrett material.
Yeah, that is the ultimate bait.
Mm-hmm. The only thing that can be more bait is if you have to play as Hazama and Jin. Oh wait, you can.
Yeah. They don't have an intro, but at least they talk to each other.
Yeah.
Because you have like, because whenever you call in assist, you have Hazama be like, Major Kisaragi.
Mm-hmm.
Or him doing that. Oh, dude, Adachi Naoto is also really good. Like Adachi, not Adachi, Hazama and Naoto, both Naotos are both really good. Because with Naoto S's him wanting to be lazy and her being like, let's see if I can figure out something, and then him just being like, yo, shut up by the end of it, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Naoto K, which is him trying to be all friendly to him and being like, I don't trust you, you snake.
Yeah.
And then whenever you call in Hazama, he just says, you prick.
Mm-hmm. Blazblue is really good fan service. And like gameplay wise, allowing you to do all the things they can do in their individual fighting games in a much more simpler manner. It's like good fan service in that like I get to do Susano combos without having to put in my brain and like unlock all the moves along the way. Or like I get to play Asriel and not have to be too much of a like big brain man. It's BB Tag is good in simplifying enough to allow a simpleton to enjoy. I say a simpleton as in like who doesn't want to learn a Blazblue game and play these characters. But it's a good kind of like simplifying characters to do their cool things without like hindering them, if that makes sense. Like don't hinder any characters, allow people to be able to do their cool things they want to do with the characters.
Yeah, and then just also
without making them feel
in terms
dumb.
of interactions as well.
Yes.
It's just in general like a game that's in a good place right now. Like even if you're like, oh, I don't want to buy it because nobody's online, then get on Discord.
Yeah.
I mean, the PS4 Discord is always vibing.
Yeah.
PC port, certain times of the day you have to play, and there's always not that many people, but there's PS4 is always packed.
Yeah, so there's always options, and if you're like, man, I don't want to do that, then guess what? Then go to a Discord, and then be like, yo, I want to play matches, and then people would want to play matches with you. Like, because a game is quote-unquote dead doesn't mean you can't play it. So if you've been like on the fence about BB Tag, I think that, and if you haven't played a single Blazblue game, then I think Tag is a good starting point. It's a good starting point in general if you've never played fighting games. Of course, not everything is going to go over 100% because maybe it's going to teach your brain wrong. and you might have to unlearn stuff.
Yeah.
But that's fine. I feel like every time you play, you go from one fighting game to another, you're gonna have to unlearn stuff and relearn it because everything is different. Not a single game has a perfect one-to-one. Oh, if you play this game, this is gonna totally explain this one. You know. So this is gonna happen. Like you're going to have to unlearn some stuff from playing this game. If you go into another fighting game, that's fine. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's fun. Who just play BlazBlue?
I think if there's a game that I could recommend more for people who want to play faster paced anime style like combo centric games is like Cross Tag is a good intro game. It's simple, it's not too difficult. There's a lot of interesting characters here for you to enjoy. Like Persona and Ruby are fairly well liked franchises that you can pick characters from there, and you can kind of like, oh, this BlazBlue character seems kind of cool, I'll put him on my team, or this Under Night character seems kind of cool, I'll play them.
Yeah, I think that's how one of my friends actually learned about Under Night was because of BB Tag.
Same.
Because I don't think he knew about it at all, and he was like, "Oh, cool, what's And he learned that he learned about Under Night, and then he wanted to play Under Night after seeing Tag at Arc Revo, I think. He was like, "Oh man, I really want to learn this game," and then he got that, and then he got into Under Night. And now Under Night's like one of his favorite fighting games, so that's really great. I think a lot of people got into Under Night because of this game.
Yes.
Because this was like, and it's just I think Ruby and Persona are the biggest reasons. Because you get a bunch of people who probably don't play fighting games, be like, oh, I know what a Persona is, because Persona 5, and then they'll buy BB Tag, and then learn about Under Night, and then get into Under Night, or into classic BlazBlue.
Admittedly, Ruby was how I heard about BB Tag. I was like, oh, I can play Blake Yang? Sick! And then I actually got really into BlazBlue. Then I picked up CF in uni. I was like, all these characters are so much cooler.
As much as I'd love to talk about the cringe culture around Ruby characters being in a fighting game, it's like, no, that's great that they're in this game because it allowed for a lot of people to like get into these other fighting games because Ruby was there. And like Neapolitan is a fun character to play as. But it's cool that like Ruby characters are still being like added to this game because it's giving the Ruby fan base that joined this game to play Ruby characters more reason to stay around and play fighting games. I really like when fighting games add in very popular franchises to like bring more people into. Now, Negan probably shouldn't be in Tekken, but he's in Tekken. Yeah. Whatever.
Another thing too is just like the. Okay, so I guess a question for BB Tag is that like if you guys let's assume that BB Tag isn't done, and that there's a 3.0.
Still could be.
What you want the next fate to be?
Yick.
I hate you.
No.
I can just end the podcast right now and just cut it.
I don't know actually what I want the other one to be. Cause I'll think about this more. Troy, if you have an answer, go ahead.
Okay, so this one has been pretty popular for a while, and I realize there might be a better one, and I might cut back in and say a second answer, but the Fate series would be really cool.
It would be really cool.
Down. Like either because you can easily put in like the usual Arthur, or if you want to be cool, or you can put in like the real system seller Astolfo. Or
I'm unironically here for that.
Yeah, Astolfo is cool.
Yeah,
I'm sure he can do cool stuff in that game. So boom, that, or like put in the Lance guy, he's cool. Or put in Gilgamesh.
Yeah, I'd be a Gilgamesh main.
There's a lot of great choices in Fate, and I'd be down with that, especially since like French Bread worked on a Type Moon game, which was Multi-Blood. So maybe they can probably work something out.
Yeah.
And they already have a sprite for Arthur they can use from Nitro Plus, so boom.
So, okay, I have my answer.
Yeah.
Back when we were figuring out what the new edition was before it was going to be a Akatsuki Blitzkampf and the one that the other girl was in.
Yeah.
At some point it was brought up that SNK could be there because Iori was in Million Arthur.
Million Arthur.
Or yeah. I would love for SNK characters to make a crossover with this, and like Iori and Kyo show up. Because I think Iori and Kyo are really fun characters you can do a lot with.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be cool to have them interact with a lot of Blazblue characters.
Yeah, you can also have like Kyo's Rekka not be dumb.
Oh yeah, or it'd be an air Rekka.
Because
Like you can do it in the air.
whenever I am trying to do Kyo stuff in 14, I get so fucking mad because it's like quarter circle forward, light punch. Okay, now do quarterback light kick. What?
It's like, huh? Yeah. I feel like you could do some cool stuff with that whole like roster of characters. And if you just did Iori and Kyo, like that could work. Or like if you had Iori, Kyo, and Terry. Sure. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you could do some cool stuff with that. And those characters could, I think, fit in this kind of game mode, and giving them air combos or combos that go into the air. Like, I think they would fit well in this like franchise.
Yeah.
It would be cool. I think SNK characters would be awesome to put in here. Now, if I had to give like a more outrageous answer, Hokuto no Ken or Fist of the North Star, if you will.
They did make one. Arceus did make a Fist of the North Star game.
Just put in the fucking Kenshiro sprite and have him fight Iori, or not fight Iori, fight anybody. It'd be cool. Give him the infinites. I'm begging.
Come on, Arceus.
It would be fun.
So for me, I've been thinking about this a lot, and if I had to pick something, I'm gonna go for probably Lupin the Third.
Ooh.
Because there's a lot of great characters that you can do. Because like I've always been thinking about that. I'm like, oh, if they put in Zenigata, he can be a grappler with his cuffs.
No.
Or like my idea was that like if you put Lupin, like specifically if you put Lupin in, you can make it to where he's like Shang Tsung. Where he gets a command grab, and if he hits you, he turns into your character. Like
that'd be kind of
he puts
cool.
on disguise, so he turns into Ragna. So all of his quarterbacks, which would be the disguise thing, would be Ragna's quarterbacks.
I'm just trying to play Jigen, dude.
Yeah, or Jigen. You can have double gunslinger. Because you can have Goemon, you can have Jigen and Naoto together.
Yeah.
Or you can have Goemon and Yuzu. Or Zenigata Hazama, or Zenigata Adachi.
Whatever they do, just add Enkidu to this game so I can play Enkidu.
Yeah, I'd be down with like them adding more characters in general.
Yeah.
Our roster is still like massive, it's 50 characters, like, but I'd be down for like a few more Blazblue characters I want to see come back, and like
I'm still waiting for Rize.
yeah, a few more Persona characters to come back, and like bringing in for like with Under Night you can bring in Enkidu or Landrikia or something.
Yeah.
Ooh, I am looking for that bottom one uni character to be top tier in BB Tag.
Or like Chaos. You can find some way to make Chaos fucking stupid. Still, yeah, BB Tag is great. If you want to get into it. Get into any of these games. Do you think we said everything that needs to be said?
I have not. I don't have much more to say about these games. They're both really good in different ways, and that like Central Fiction is a great game if you want to like learn independent fighting game characters and like really get your money's worth in like learning a character. BB Tag is a great like intro game for people who aren't super comfortable with playing fighting games, and you can like get more into like how fighting games play, and there's a lot of characters in there that you can learn very quickly. Like both these games are really great intro fighting games in my opinion.
Yeah. So, that being said, thank you for popping in and listening. I was joined by, obviously, Austin.
That's me.
Troy.
Later.
And I am your host, and I'll see you, Garrett, and I'll see you next time when we cover a different game or a different concept, whatever it is. Make sure to press start. Yeah.
You're getting better at it, Garrett. Don't worry.